We've all been there. Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, an animal advocate, rescuer, and editor of Pet News USA, owner of Pawsitive Personals, a published author of many animal books, investigative journalist. Over the years, I've seen firsthand the heartbreaking effects of animal abuse, neglect, and the lack of enforcement of animal protection laws. Too often, we vent our frustrations on social media, but that alone isn't going to bring about the real change we need. In today's video, I want to talk about something critical: why it's time to stop just ranting online and start directing our energy toward the people who can actually make a difference: your local government and law enforcement. They have the power to enforce animal ordinances and prioritize resources to protect animals, but that won't happen unless we, as citizens, demand action. My goal with this video is to show you how your voice can be a powerful tool to push for stronger animal protection laws and ensure law enforcement is held accountable. Together, we can make a difference, but only if we take the right steps. So, let's get started. You're scrolling through social media and bam, there it is, another horrific video of animal abuse. Your blood boils, your fingers fly across the keyboard, unleashing a righteous tirade of fury. You share the post with a string of angry emojis. You feel better, right? Like you've actually done something. Well, guess what? You haven't. See, ranting on Facebook about animal cruelty is like bringing a water pistol to a 5-alarm fire. It might feel good in the moment, but it's not going to extinguish the problem. It's time to face a harsh reality. Social media outrage, while cathartic, is woefully inadequate in combating animal abuse. We need real action, and that starts with putting pressure on the people in charge, our local officials. They hold the keys to enacting and enforcing the laws that protect animals. They control the purse strings that determine how seriously animal cruelty cases are investigated. So, put down your phones, folks. It's time to channel that outrage into something tangible. It's time to get political. Write letters, make phone calls, and attend town hall meetings. Join local advocacy groups and participate in peaceful protests. Educate yourself on the issues and spread awareness in your community. Volunteer at animal shelters or sanctuaries where your efforts can make a direct impact. Consider adopting pets instead of buying them, giving animals a second chance at life. Donate to reputable animal welfare organizations that are on the front lines of this battle. Sign petitions that call for stronger animal protection laws and better enforcement. Talk to your friends and family about the importance of animal rights and how they can help. Attend workshops and seminars to learn more about effective advocacy. Use your skills to create content that educates and inspires others to take action. Remember, real change comes from collective action and sustained effort. Together, we can make a difference and create a world where animals are treated with the respect and compassion they deserve. So, let's move beyond the keyboard and into the real world where our actions can truly save lives. Now, you might be thinking, isn't animal cruelty a federal crime? Well, yes and no. While there are federal laws against certain forms of animal cruelty, the vast majority of animal protection is handled at the local level. This means that while federal laws set a baseline, the real enforcement and additional protections come from your local government. That means your city council members, your mayor, your county commissioners. These are the folks who decide how much or how little protection animals in your community receive. They are the ones who draft, debate, and pass the ordinances that directly impact the lives of animals in your area. They are responsible for passing ordinances against animal fighting, puppy mills, and other forms of abuse. These local laws can be incredibly specific, targeting issues that are particularly relevant to your community. They set the standards for animal care and control in your town. This includes everything from the conditions in animal shelters to the regulations for pet ownership. They decide what constitutes adequate food, water, and shelter for animals. They determine the penalties for those who break the law. This can range from fines to jail time, and the severity of these penalties can greatly influence how seriously animal cruelty is taken in your community. In short, they have the power to make life a living hell for animal abusers, or they can turn a blind eye. The effectiveness of animal protection laws is only as strong as the willingness of local officials to enforce them. And guess which option they're more likely to choose if nobody's watching? That's right, the one where they can focus on something sexier like filling potholes or arguing about parking tickets. It's easier to prioritize issues that have immediate, visible impacts on human constituents. That's right, the one where they can focus on something sexier like filling potholes or arguing about parking tickets. These are the issues that get them re-elected, after all, because let's face it, Animals don't vote. They don't donate to campaigns. They're the perfect constituency to ignore. This is why it's so crucial for animal lovers and advocates to step up and be the voice for those who can't speak for themselves. Unless, of course, we the people make some noise. When we show up at city council meetings, when we write letters, when we organize protests, we remind our local officials that animal welfare is a priority. We can push for stronger laws, better enforcement, and more resources for animal protection. It's up to us to hold our local government accountable. By staying informed and involved, we can ensure that the buck truly stops with them. We can make a difference, one community at a time. So let's get out there and make some noise. For the animals, for our communities, and for a better world. Let's say, by some miracle, your local government does pass some decent animal protection laws. These laws are designed to safeguard the welfare of animals, ensuring they are treated with the respect and care they deserve. They might include regulations on proper shelter, adequate food and water, and protection from abuse and neglect. Fantastic. Now, who's going to enforce them? This is where the real challenge begins. Passing laws is one thing, but ensuring they are upheld is an entirely different battle. Here's where things get even more depressing. Law enforcement agencies across the country are chronically understaffed, underfunded, and undertrained when it comes to animal cruelty cases. Many departments are struggling just to keep up with their current caseloads, let alone take on the additional responsibility of animal welfare. Think about it. When's the last time you saw an animal cruelty unit listed on your local police department's website? Chances are, you haven't. These specialized units are rare, and even when they do exist, they are often under-resourced and overwhelmed. Exactly. Most police officers, bless their hearts, are already stretched thin dealing with human-on-human crime. They are responding to emergencies, investigating serious offenses, and trying to maintain public safety. Adding animal cruelty cases to their workload can seem like an insurmountable task. They're not experts in animal behavior. Understanding the nuances of animal welfare requires specialized knowledge and training, which most officers simply don't have. They don't have the specialized training to recognize the signs of abuse or neglect. Identifying animal cruelty isn't always straightforward. It requires a keen eye and an understanding of animal behavior that goes beyond basic training. And even if they do manage to build a case against an animal abuser, chances are the punishment will be a slap on the wrist, a small fine, maybe a stern talking to. The legal system often doesn't prioritize animal cruelty cases, leading to lenient sentences that fail to act as a deterrent. Not exactly the kind of deterrent that's going to strike fear into the hearts of hardened animal abusers, is it? Without serious consequences, these offenders are likely to continue their harmful behavior, knowing that the risk of significant punishment is low. This cycle of abuse and leniency perpetuates the suffering of countless animals, highlighting the urgent need for more robust enforcement and stricter penalties. Section 4. Make some noise, people. So, what's the solution? We need to make animal cruelty a priority for our elected officials. We need to be so loud, so persistent, so annoyingly relentless that they have no choice but to listen. Remember, politicians are like cockroaches. They hate the light. They thrive in the shadows where nobody's paying attention. But shine a spotlight on their inaction and they scurry for cover. That's where you come in, dear citizen. You are the spotlight. You are the exterminator. You are the voice for the voiceless. And the best part? You don't need a fancy law degree or $1 million lobbying budget to make a difference. All you need is a phone, a pen, and a healthy dose of righteous indignation. Section 5. Silence equals suffering. Because here's the brutal truth. Every time we stay silent, every time we fail to hold our elected officials accountable, animals suffer. They suffer in silence, behind closed doors, in puppy mills and dogfighting rings. They suffer in laboratories and factory farms. They suffer because we allow it to happen. We tell ourselves we're too busy, too powerless, too insignificant to make a difference. But that's just not true. History is full of examples of ordinary people achieving extraordinary things when they band together for a common cause. Remember the civil rights movement, the suffragettes, the Stonewall riots? Change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, effort, and sustained pressure. But it starts with each of us refusing to accept the status quo. It starts with demanding better for the animals who share our planet. Section 6. Be the squeaky wheel. So, how do we do it? How do we become that squeaky wheel that gets the grease? It's simpler than you think. First, find out who represents you at the local level. Google is your friend here. Once you've identified your targets, it's time to unleash the fury, but strategically, of course. Write letters to your city council members, your mayor, your county commissioners. Pick up the phone and call their offices. Attend city council meetings and make public comments. Flood their inboxes with emails. Be polite, be persistent, but be firm in your demands. Don't let them brush you off with vague promises or bureaucratic jargon. Demand concrete action. Demand increased funding for animal control. Demand stricter penalties for animal abusers. Demand mandatory training for law enforcement officers. And don't stop demanding until you see results. Section 7. Let's get this done, America. Look, I get it. Pressuring politicians can feel like shouting into a void, but trust me, they hear you. They might pretend not to, but they do. And the more of us who raise our voices, the harder it becomes for them to ignore us. This isn't about being a crazy cat lady or a dog nut. This is about basic decency. It's about recognizing that animals are sentient beings capable of feeling pain and suffering just like we are. It's about creating a world where our animal companions are treated with the respect and compassion they deserve. So, let's stop with the empty gestures on social media. Let's turn our outrage into action. Let's make some noise for those who can't speak for themselves. Let's get this done, America.